are you today, my friend? Hey everyone, I'm Sam Alex from Egypt. I create fun, engaging, and thought-provoking content across different fields and anything that sparks curiosity and makes you think. I also love connecting with people from different cultures and building friendships around the world because I believe sharing knowledge and experiences makes life more meaningful. I help people who want to learn Arabic and explore Arab culture, and I also share insights about tourism and investment opportunities in Egypt. If you'd like to reach out or connect, you can contact me on WhatsApp. The number's on the screen in front of you and in the video description. All right, let's get into today's topic.
Have you ever wondered why a guy dressed like a bat scares an entire city full of criminals? Maybe because Batman isn't a superhero. He's something much scarier. He's proof that pain can become power and that one bad night can either destroy you or turn you into a legend.
Batman has no superpowers, no laser eyes, no magic hammer, no alien blood. Just money, trauma, and an unhealthy obsession with justice. Honestly, if therapy existed in Gotham, maybe half the villains and Batman himself would have been fine. The night Bruce Wayne lost his parents, he also lost his childhood. But here's the strange part. That tragedy didn't create Batman. It gave him a choice. Become another broken man or become the nightmare that hunts nightmares.
Have you ever wondered why a billionaire dresses like a bat instead of buying an island and forgetting about everyone's problems? Because Bruce Wayne learned something the hard way. Pain doesn't disappear, it changes shape. And one night in a dark alley, a scared little boy decided that if he couldn't stop his own tragedy, maybe he could stop someone else's.
The moment Bruce Wayne lost his parents, he lost his innocence too. Most people would spend years in therapy. Bruce spent years learning martial arts, detective skills, and how to disappear into shadows. Apparently, everyone deals with grief differently. Why a bat? Of all animals, why not a lion or an eagle? Because fear isn't defeated by strength. It's defeated by becoming something scarier than the thing you're afraid of. Batman didn't conquer fear. He turned into it. Gotham isn't just a city. It's a giant therapy session that nobody attends. Every street creates villains. Every shadow hides secrets. And somehow, Batman decided this place was worth saving. That's either heroic or completely insane. People ask why Batman doesn't kill the Joker. Maybe because once you start crossing lines, you forget where they were. Batman knows the monster inside him exists. He just refuses to feed it. The Joker isn't Batman's enemy. He's Batman's nightmare wearing makeup. He's the question Batman never wants to answer. What if one bad day really is enough to break anyone? Batman can defeat almost anyone, and that's terrifying. Imagine being a god and realizing the guy dressed like a bat already has a folder explaining how to beat you. That's not preparation, that's trust issues with a budget. Bruce Wayne wears two masks. The first one is Batman. The second one is the smiling billionaire. And honestly, the second mask is probably harder to wear. At the end of the day, Batman isn't a story about a superhero. It's a story about a broken human being who wakes up every night and chooses to fight darkness, even when he knows he'll never completely win. Maybe that's what makes him a legend. Batman is called the world's greatest detective, and honestly, that's impressive, because this man can look at a footprint and somehow figure out your childhood trauma. Meanwhile, I can't even remember why I walked into the kitchen. But here's the scary part. Batman doesn't just solve crimes, he studies people. He understands fear, weakness, and secrets. And when you know someone's secrets, you don't need superpowers to beat them. And that raises a dangerous question. What happens when the greatest detective starts investigating himself? The truth is, Bruce Wayne might be addicted to being Batman. Every night he goes out knowing he could die, and yet he keeps doing it. That's not bravery anymore. That's a man chasing something he can never catch. Maybe he's not trying to save Gotham. Maybe he's trying to save the little boy who lost his parents. And if that's true, then Batman's biggest enemy isn't the Joker. It's his own past. Batman trained all over the world. He learned from ninjas, detectives, escape artists, and martial arts masters. Basically, Bruce Wayne spent years turning himself into the world's most dangerous overachiever. But every new skill came with a price. He gave up a normal life, friendships, and maybe even happiness. The question is simple. If becoming extraordinary means giving up being ordinary, is it worth it? Batman keeps gadgets inside the Batcave that look like they were designed by a billionaire who never learned the meaning of the word enough. Cars, planes, suits, computers, and probably a machine that makes coffee while solving crimes. But none of those things make Batman special, because if you took away every gadget, he'd still walk into the darkness and fight. And that tells us something incredible. The real weapon was never in the cave. It was always inside him. Robin isn't just Batman's sidekick. Robin is proof that Bruce Wayne refuses to let another child suffer alone. Every Robin represents a second chance, a chance Bruce never had. But here's the tragic part. Some wounds don't heal just because you save someone else. And one loss would remind Batman of that forever.
There are moments when Batman fails. Yes, the legend fails. People die, villains escape, friends get hurt. And every failure becomes another scar hidden behind the mask. Maybe that's why we love Batman. Because unlike gods and aliens, he loses all the time and still gets back up. But one failure changed him more than all the others. Losing someone you love changes you forever. Batman learned that lesson more than once. Every grave in Gotham carries a piece of Bruce Wayne with it. The strange thing about grief is that it never leaves. It simply learns how to sit quietly beside you. And maybe that's why Batman keeps fighting. Because stopping would mean sitting alone with the pain. People think Batman is afraid of nothing. That's not true. He's afraid of failing, losing people, becoming like his enemies, and waking up one day to discover that all of this meant nothing. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is walking into the darkness while your hands are shaking. And nobody understands that better than Batman. Would Gotham become peaceful? Or would the city simply create another monster to replace him? Maybe heroes and villains need each other more than they admit, because every light creates a shadow, and every shadow needs a light. Which leads to the biggest question of all. Who is Batman really? A billionaire? A vigilante? A broken child? Or a symbol? Maybe Batman isn't a person at all. Maybe Batman is an idea. The idea that no matter how dark life gets, someone can still stand up and fight back. And if that's true, then maybe the mask was never meant for Bruce Wayne alone. People always ask if Batman is a hero or a villain, but maybe the real answer is worse. He is neither. He is what happens when pain refuses to die. Because every night he puts on the mask, he becomes less human and more idea. And ideas never bleed. If Batman became the Joker, the world would burn. If the Joker became Batman, the world would lie. They are not enemies. They are two possible endings of the same broken story. And the scariest part is there is no guarantee we are not closer to one than the other. There are versions of Batman that scare even Batman himself. In some universes, he becomes the very thing he hunts, because when justice loses balance, it stops being justice and becomes something far more dangerous. Can Batman exist in real life? Technically, yes. A man can train. A man can fight. A man can become smart. But emotionally, no. Because most people choose healing over obsession. Batman is not impossible because of skills. He is impossible because of sacrifice. Batman's greatest weapon is not strength or money. It is fear. He doesn't just fight criminals. He becomes the nightmare they see before they sleep. But what happens when fear stops working? What happens when the monsters stop being afraid of the bat? The truth is, Gotham doesn't need Batman. It creates him. Every corrupt system, every broken street, every lost child builds him again and again. Batman is not the solution. He is the symptom. Bruce Wayne could have left Gotham at any time, buy an island, forget everything, live peacefully. But he stayed. Because some people don't want peace. They want meaning. And Batman gave Bruce Wayne a reason to keep breathing. Every Robin, every ally, every saved life is a reminder that Batman is still human. But every loss reminds him that humanity is fragile. And that balance between hope and pain is what keeps him alive. One day, Batman will disappear. Maybe not by death, but by silence. And Gotham will not know what it lost until the shadows feel different. Because you only realize what Batman was when fear no longer protects you. So who is Batman at the end of everything? A hero? A monster? A myth?
Or just a man who refused to let darkness win? Maybe he is all of them at once. Or maybe Batman was never about him at all. Maybe he was always about us. So the real question is not who is Batman. The real question is, when your world goes dark, what will you become?